Guys, this is not a drill. I Am Legend 2 has finally found its director. Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan are set to star, and cameras are rolling soon. To say this is huge would be a massive understatement. So over the next few minutes, let us break it all down, starting with the biggest piece of news. The entertainment site Collider has exclusively reported that Stephen Caple Jr. will direct the sequel to the cult post-apocalyptic hit. And this is not just some random rumor. A journalist from the outlet actually interviewed the director, who confirmed it himself and shared some exciting details. If Stephen Caple Jr. sounds familiar, you are definitely not imagining things. He pops up in our videos all the time, especially because he has kept saying he is down to return for a sequel to Rise of the Beasts. Yes, he directed that movie, which a lot of people felt was a bit of a letdown, and fans are still dragging it to this day. That movie underperforming is a big reason why the franchise stalled, but there is more to the story. Word is, there was a ton of studio interference, with executives pushing to fast-track a crossover with G.I. Joe, forcing them into the script. The director was not exactly thrilled about it, and he even mentioned in an interview that he would only come back for a sequel if they let him make it without the crossover stuff. Maybe if they had given him more creative freedom, the studio would not be begging Michael Bay to save Transformers right now. But it is what it is. On top of that, Caple Jr. also directed Creed 2, where he first worked with Michael B. Jordan. While it might not be a masterpiece, it definitely delivered on that classic Rocky IV nostalgia and solid sports drama. So, Stephen Caple is a pretty decent director, even if he does not have the same star power as Francis Lawrence, who directed the first movie. Funnily enough, Lawrence was originally planning to direct the sequel himself, which insiders had been backing up for months. Now, though, it looks like he will only be staying on as a consultant. We will probably find out why he stepped back later on, but it is highly likely he chose to focus on Constantine 2, which is also currently in active development. Since the second I Am Legend movie probably will not hit theaters until next year, now is the perfect time to go back and re-watch the original. Either way, locking in a director is a huge step forward, because that usually only happens once the core story is approved, meaning the main plot beats are set, and they are now just fine-tuning the script. As a reminder, the screenplay is being written by Akiva Goldsman, who penned the original film. He does not really need an introduction, considering his credits include the first I Am Legend, A Beautiful Mind, and Constantine. The guy knows exactly how to build a compelling narrative with memorable characters. He even confirmed in an interview that the sequel is heavily drawing visual inspiration from the game The Last of Us, specifically the game, not the show. Honestly though, the show from HBO looked great, even with all the casting drama. As soon as Goldsman signed on to write the sequel to I Am Legend, he was praising the game left and right. He mentioned how much he loved the way Naughty Dog designed a city totally reclaimed by nature, and he wants to bring that same vibe to a New York City overgrown with plants and wildlife. This fits perfectly with the early teasers, which hinted that the story takes place 20 or more years after the first movie, compared to the original, which only jumped 3 years ahead. Over 20 years, New York City would look like a literal jungle, which is exactly what the filmmakers are going for. Naturally, Will Smith will be returning to play his iconic character. If you are wondering how on earth his character is still alive, the studio made it clear right off the bat that they are going with the alternate ending. That ending was only available on the home release, so a lot of people had no idea it even existed. In the theatrical version that most of us saw, the film ends with Robert Neville dying a hero, giving the cure to Anna and her son, hiding them, and blowing himself up along with the infected. The alternate cut, which was the original vision for the film, went in a totally different direction. In that version, Neville survives. He releases the infected test subject, hands her back to the alpha male, and leaves the city with Anna. This ending revealed that the infected actually possessed intelligence and social structures, meaning they were not the mindless monsters everyone thought they were. This was a much closer adaptation of the original book, but of course, executive meddling got in the way. After some test screenings with early cuts, the studio realized audiences found the happy ending way too predictable. It took away from the dramatic tension and screamed sequel bait, so they decided to reshoot the whole climax. Ironically, now they are making that very same alternate ending the official canon. Explaining this to casual moviegoers who have no idea about the alternate cut is going to be a real challenge. Maybe, since there is a major time jump, the writers will just sweep it under the rug. To clear up any confusion, they might re-release the correct version of the first movie in theaters. Honestly, given how beloved the film is, plenty of fans would show up and some might even bring their kids, since 20 years have passed. People online are already debating whether the involvement of Will Smith will hurt the film. Ever since the infamous slap at the Academy Awards, a lot of studios have been hesitant to work with him, but things seem totally fine for I Am Legend, and they are ready to get him back in the game. Joining Will Smith, as we mentioned, is Michael B. Jordan, who has been gaining a lot of hype this year, especially with his movie Sinners getting some serious buzz thanks to the Academy Award. Early rumors suggested he would play the son of Robert Neville living in a human colony, which explained the 20-year time jump. However, the latest updates say Jordan is playing a completely different character, the leader of a new settlement in Connecticut. This gives us a better idea of the plot, and Akiva Goldsman has said the movie will still draw inspiration from the novel of Richard Matheson. Even though there is no sequel novel, the core idea of humanity no longer being the dominant species is something they still want to explore. And that is because the theatrical cut completely missed the point of the book. I Am Legend is not just a standard survival story about one man in New York City. While that is a great read, the real punch lies in the ending, which explains the title and completely flips the narrative on its head. The theatrical ending threw that message away with the heroic death of Robert Neville. The alternate ending, which is now the canon version, got a lot closer to the book, but only slightly, because the infected on-screen were still nothing like the ones in the novel. In the book, they could speak, lived structured nocturnal lives, and even tried to seduce Neville, who, by the way, was an alcoholic rather than some genius scientist. Based on current rumors, the sequel seems to be taking cues from the movie Stakeland. Over 2 decades, the infected will have evolved to form their own society, which might be primitive but has clear rules and hierarchy. With humans in the minority, the ultimate question becomes whether curing the virus is even the right move. If most of the planet is populated by nocturnal beings, why would they want to change? The setting will still be in and around New York. Connecticut, where the character of Jordan is in charge, is just a 2-hour drive from the Big Apple. In the first film, the safe zone Anna was heading to was in Vermont. That is also relatively close, about a 6-hour trek. Plus, keeping the comments of Goldsman about The Last of Us in mind, he was specifically talking about an overgrown New York City taken over by nature. So it is safe to say the story will stay in the same general area, which makes total sense in universe. In the original, Neville explained he stayed in the city because it was ground zero, the only place where he could effectively test a cure. Even if Robert and Anna made it to Vermont, they will probably have to head back. Connecticut is right on the way, which sets up their meeting with the character of Jordan, and since he rarely plays villains, they will likely team up. We will leave the reasons for their return to Ground Zero to the writer, whether it is for a global cure or a more personal mission. Either way, I Am Legend 2 is set to dive deeper into the themes from the book. And who knows, maybe this time we will get the real ending, where Robert Neville realizes he is the actual monster of this new world order. As for the release date, we can only speculate. With the main crew and cast locked in, production should be starting soon. Even if Akiva Goldsman has a draft ready, it will take at least 6 months for revisions, notes, and polish, while the director scouts locations and maps out the shoot. After that, the studio will greenlight the film, and they will start coordinating the busy schedules of everyone. In a perfect world, filming could start by the end of next year. If so, we are looking at least another year of post-production, since this is being billed as a major post-apocalyptic blockbuster. They will need time to finish the visual effects while simultaneously launching the marketing campaign. Under those ideal conditions, I Am Legend 2 could arrive by the end of 2028. However, things rarely go that smoothly, so a realistic target is probably closer to 2030. For now, we will just have to keep an eye out for updates. The cast and crew are bound to face a ton of questions on press tours, and maybe someone will let a few details slip. Let us know in the comments what your expectations are for the sequel. Does I Am Legend even need a second part, and can it live up to the original? That is all from us today. See you in the next video very soon.